Well, okay, today is the 5th of April, Sunday afternoon, about 1:11, looks like from the clock. And this, I guess, is the third in this series, and it's not going to make much sense to keep telling you which one in the series it is. If I tell you the date, then I guess you can figure it out if that's important to you. And again, my stated purpose in doing this, making these videos, is to tell the stories that that I remember of my parents and their parents and our family in general, and whatever else I know about my background and the world as I knew it, leading up to where we're at now. When I was born, my parents lived in a house on Goodrich Street, 227 Goodrich, which was fairly close to Woodlawn Lake, and I think it was either a one-bedroom, one-bath, or a two-bedroom, one-bath house, not too far from St. Mary's University. And in those days, that was kind of the edge of town, and of course now town extends many, many miles beyond that in the west. And so when I was born, I remember mother told me that she would walk me up and down the driveway in the stroller to get me to go to sleep. And we had a neighbor whose name I will recall at some point, but I don't right now. But she was apparently a really nice lady that my mom got along with real well, and she took me. We moved when I was a year and a half, so I was born in January of '53. That was where they lived at the time, and I think Mom and Uncle Helmuth and Fred lived like on the same block, or maybe down a block, and then Uncle Perry and Noni and Terrell Frank would have been born by then, and I guess also Marthanell. They also lived right there. So all three of those families lived within a block of one another over on Goodrich, or right next to Goodrich. And then I guess everybody moved at pretty much the same time. Mom and Dad bought the house on Pilgrim, 107 Pilgrim, and moved there the summer of 1954. It would have been a brand new house, 3-bedroom, 1-bath, with a 1-car garage. And Mama and Uncle Helmuth bought a house down on Alhambra. I think it was 1413 was their address. Yeah, I think because later on Liz and I bought the house next door to them from a lady that I had known, I guess, all my life, Miss Gertrude Wallace. And her husband Bill had died some years before, and she was going to move out to California to be with her kids. So she sold that house to Liz and I. And we got that house we financed $14,100. It was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And it had a 1-car detached garage, which we ultimately tore down because it was falling over. And then Noni and Uncle Perry bought the house at 50 Pilgrim, 50, which was across West Avenue and down at the end of the block away from us. So Alhambra was maybe a mile and a half down West Avenue from Pilgrim. We were 2 houses off West Avenue. And so the three families still stayed fairly close together, and Aunt Bertie lived her life out. I guess she stayed out on her land out in Mount Creek, which was between Stockdale and Yorktown, I think. And then I guess later on, I think she moved in with Jean and Carol Annette. But at any rate, Mom would walk me up and down the driveway, and after, I guess I was about 4 or 5, maybe 6, the lady next door came down with cancer, and Mom took me to see her, and I just remember her being a nice lady, but having her head all swathed in bandages. And there was a big, good producing fig tree out in back of Goodrich. And Mom and Dad kept it for a while as a rent property. and it became too much, so they sold it off. But that part of town has changed in character a great deal over the last 65 years, I guess, as everything does. So that's it for this one. Nothing else comes up on my mind that I feel like I need to share right now.